just a contrast between the situation in Britain and France when it comes to general popular grassroots radical leftist movements around the issue of trade unions. Now, the RMT, which is the Railway Maritime Transport Union, has again cancelled a whole bunch of planned strikes that it announced yesterday, not because it has a better pay offer from the employers, the Railway Delivery Group in the form of, but it's just some slightly different details. It's nothing at all to do with the initial demands that's informing the number of strikes. The FBU, the Fire Brigades Union, has basically sold out on a less than inflation pay deal. The UCU, the College and University Union, is also selling out and cancelling strikes. And it just seems it's just a very depressing state of affairs. The strike wave, so-called, which really lost its momentum by last autumn as the RMT cancelled strikes for the monarchy and then for the British Legion, lost its momentum. It's caused demoralisation, acrimony, division and upset. You can see the members of the trade unions very upset and beside themselves with the lack of real leadership. Then on the other hand, you have France, which again is on another spate of resistance in the streets against the authorities and against riot police in defense of their pension rights, in which the government is trying to attack to raise the pension age from 64 to 68. Now, it's not an altogether wonderful situation in France either, but comparatively, in contrast to the relative just silence at the grassroots in Britain, you have this much more comparatively very militant and bright and loud resistance in the French grassroots. The French trade union leadership and movement seems to be a lot more diverse and younger and frankly interesting and militant and assertive compared to what seems to be like just the kind of general gammon, corrupt, older, male, boring leadership of the trade union movement here. But again, the French trade union situation, although in comparison is better than Britain, still the trade unions in France are still not conducting offensive struggles to demand better pay and conditions, etc. They are not striking to defend migrant workers and those in the precarious gig economy and people in agency work, etc. They're not doing that. So there's still some major challenges, and when it comes to the far right movements, they're very powerful and popular in France and continue to be so. And it has some manifestations in government as well. And in Britain, we have a far-right regime here with the far-right Tories. This all goes back to the historical respective political cultures of the two people. England's revolution of the 17th century basically has a class collaborationist compromise with the feudal aristocracy by the rising petty bourgeois and bourgeois capitalist forces, whereas France chopped the head of the monarchy and continued to radicalize after 1789 of the French Revolution into the 1790s. So there's a totally different political culture, but the issues of colonialism and racism are quite similar in both states' regards as well.